arbitrary spoiler warning. I'm gonna spoil the whole game. So yeah, characters. They're by far my favorite thing. So why not rank them? I haven't done one of these in a hot second. You know what? Let me just start off with the list actually, and then we'll have my yapping session later on, just to be a little more coherent, I guess. But yeah, first one would be Aeris. Unfortunately, she goes in neutral. I really don't know how I feel about her story arc, pretty much, because just like she dies, and for me personally, it is hard for me to like a character if I know they're going to die. And you know, that infamous scene of Sephiroth, you know, killing Aeris. It's a very, very infamous scene. And you know, it's if you haven't been spoiled on it, sorry, but yeah, for that, knowing that in the back of my head, it's really hard for me to like her character, because it's just like, well, I know she's going to die. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard for me to get attached to a character if I know she's going to die. And like the other stuff, and just basically the whole story, I didn't really care for at the end of the day. Like her, like being an ancient, I really did not care. Like her mother being an ancient, this and that. It's like I really didn't. I didn't care for any of it, you know. And really, she should be in not care, but like, you know, I think she deserves neutral comparatively to everybody else, because like if I didn't know she would die, I think it would have the obviously the moment of the impact would have felt, you know, more impactful, obviously, because I would probably have been in like disbelief, be like, what? There's no way she dies, type of ordeal. But yeah, because I knew she died, yeah, I really couldn't get too much interested in her story arc, to say the least. Barret goes and don't care. How do I best put this? Parental figures. Good fucking luck making me care about parental figures. And Barret is a parental figure, like, you know, he obviously cares for Marie and whatnot. Good on him. Can't say I really care. And like his like mini side arc with, I don't even remember his name. I think his name was maybe Dan or something, the actual father of Marine, I believe. Again, it's been a hot second, and it's one of the storylines that I just didn't really care for. So yeah, Barret's like he's like fine, but I genuinely just did not care for like anything about him. He did have one good joke though, I won't lie. He did have one good joke. And you know, where just like, oh yeah, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, we should split up. And then, you know, and then obviously I picked Tifa and Aeris, and he's like, I thought you'd do that. That was a good joke. I like that. Cait Sith, or Cait Sith, I believe. I also don't care about this person. Is it a he, she, it? I know the person controlling it is like Reeves, but I don't know if it's a she or I guess I'll just go with it. I guess it betrayed us at the end of the day, or you know, Reeves, I guess, betrayed us type of a deal, like giving away. Actually, I already forgot. It's been a hot second. The more little things you forget about the story. You know, I at least only remember the major things. But yeah, Cait, I just didn't get. They betrayed us, but like, you know, they stayed in our party because, you know, they threatened us with like a hostage with like Marina or Marie, and it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I really don't care. Sid is also the same. I really don't care about his story. I just like, oh yeah, his dream of being, you know, going into outer space and finally being able to see outer space and this and that, and being forced to be, you know, like the leader of the party when like Tifa and Cloud were like not in the party. I just didn't care for any of that. Very sorry, just how it is. We're gonna skip this one for now. So yeah, we're gonna skip Cloud for now. Red, kind of the same situation. I can't say I really care for him and his story arc either. It didn't really interest me with his, like, you know, him saying his father just abandoned them, when in reality his father actually protected, you know, the city and protected the cabin, that type of ideas. Like, again, I didn't really care for like his specimen, or like his like uniqueness of like being one like his only kind left. But then like at the ending he has 2 children, so I have to assume that his race is, I forget the word for it, but you know, the race that can, you know, reproduce on their own type of word. I forget what the term is, but yeah, like he has children. But again, I really just did not care for his story arc, because just like, yeah, at the end of the day, I only care about a few characters, and quite frankly, Red was not one of them. So we'll skip these 2 for now. So Vincent's kind of the same thing. Vincent is just like, you know, he's kind of just there. I probably missed something with him. I had to miss something with him, I feel like, because literally all you do is like, he's like in a coffin, But I never figured out why he was in the coffin, and he just didn't like, I don't know, either he didn't like Sephiroth or Hojo. I forget, I genuinely just forgot which one. But yeah, it's just like, you meet him in like a thing, and because he's like a optional side character, probably the side quest with him isn't like mandatory, and in doing so, I don't really know if he had one. I have to assume he did, but if he did, oh well. I didn't particularly care. Yeah, some people are gonna like this. Youthful also goes and don't care. I never got her. I genuinely never got her. So yeah, I never got that random encounter with her, even though I knew the conditions to get her, which is, you know, getting a random encounter in like a forest area. I always had the random battles off in the open map, simply because I only wanted to get to point A to point B, and like if I'm like running around being fucking lost because I am lost but I don't know where to go, I don't want that to be constantly interrupted with, you know, the random battle. Be like, oh great, I have to do this while, you know, I'm fucking lost, I don't know where to go, and in that time I had to face 10 random battles. You know, I don't want to do that, so I just turned it off, and doing so I never got youthful, you know, sue me. But yeah, now we get to like the main 3 people. Cloud. I sort of like Cloud. So here's the thing though, I kind of already liked Cloud before I even played Final Fantasy VII. You know what I mean? Like I like saw him in Super Smash Bros. For like the 3DS and Wii. I think he was really cool. And then I also saw him, you know, in Smash, and I thought again his character design really good. Really loved him. You know, people hyping up, you know, Cloud being this hero or whatever. Just a really like popular video game protagonist type of deal. So I already liked Cloud. So in doing so, I was like, okay, sweet, it shouldn't be that hard. Unfortunately, first impressions mean a lot to me personally, and well, first impression of Cloud is him just not caring about anything. Like, you know, Barret saying the world's ending, and just Cloud saying, oh, I don't care. It's like, even if I knew why he's like that, you know, in hindsight, I knew why he was acting like that, it still doesn't make it right, because first impressions really do mean a lot to me, and it's just like our first impression Cloud is this, and it's just like, I really wanted to like Cloud. Like, I really wanted to love Cloud. Put him in faves even, but I don't think this Cloud does it. I think he is fine. Again, I really do like his like struggles of like if he was actually real or not. I really do like that. The problem though is that it happens pretty late in the game, like in the better half of the game. I feel like for me, if they focused a bit more on Cloud, like near the beginning, it would have been better, because just like, oh well, they did with him explaining his backstory with like Sephiroth and whatnot, but then you realize that that's actually not true, and like the thing is, like, you only get that snippet, and it didn't really focus on it because it left it on like a cliffhanger. So you had like all this other stuff that was happening that I just didn't really care for, you know, like the like the gold saucer casinos and like anything in between. Again, I didn't really care about any of that, to say the least. I really wanted to love Cloud, but it's just like I don't think he deserves love tier, like, at all. I like him and I like some parts of it, but it just isn't enough for me. You know what I mean? And then Sephiroth is kind of the same-ish. He's neutral, purely for the fact of like, I don't think the PS1 graphics really do him justice per se, because like, at least for one, our first interaction, like, you know, our first interaction or appearance of Sephiroth, he's literally just chilling on a fucking, you know, like back of a truck, which is so weird. Now, obviously, the first combat experience you get with him, you know, is you seeing power dynamic, or like, you know, the level difference when it comes to Sephiroth and like teenage Cloud. You know what I mean? And then, as long as you don't overgrind, then you only reach that level at like the end of your journey. So even before Cloud like journey really started, Sephiroth was already that strong at the end of your journey. Again, as long as you don't like over level type of ordeal. So it's just like, now, yeah, again, that aspect's perfectly fine, but like gameplay wise, it didn't really mean much to me. I just laughed it off. I was like, haha, that's crazy, you know what I mean? But it's like, I genuinely don't see how people think Sephiroth is intimidating at all. And I think the PS1 graphics just doesn't help in making opponent making antagonists or villains really that emboldening or that, you know, threatening, I guess, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like, oh no, what is Sephiroth going to do? Like, I'm not scared of Sephiroth, you know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely not scared of Sephiroth. I do not find Sephiroth scary at like, genuinely at all, because again, the PS1 graphics didn't know, you know, he's just doing this and then flying around and reading it. It was like a reading bookcase and all of this, and it's just like, you know, it's just like, it really isn't that imposing to me at all. I'm just like, really? Like, people like hyping up Sephiroth, you know, type of deal, like, oh yeah, he's such a good antagonist, but it's like, he really isn't that intimidating in Final Fantasy VII. Genuinely, I do not think Sephiroth is actually that intimidating at fucking all, you know. And again, some of it can also lean towards like the OST, say, oh, the OST kind of does like the heavy lifting and whatnot, especially with like the one-winged angel. That's definitely good, but the problem though is that it's just like it's not enough, you know what I mean? Like, now I know this is obviously unfair, because again, they do put a lot of time and like effort in like the OST. I get that, but for me, I don't really like connect the character to a specific OST type of thing. Even if it does explain the character a lot better than like the game could technically can, it's just like I don't really read in between those lines because I just don't really care enough. So yeah, and then Tifa also goes in like, I really like Tifa, you know, beforehand, you know, again, like the fan art, the concept of, you know, the fan art that I've seen on like Pinterest and whatnot, absolutely love it type of ordeal, you know. So I already like Tifa, and the problem is that whole story also happens in the better half of the game, which is, there's per se nothing bad about that, but just like, I want something more in the first half of the game to really, you know, get me going, to be like, hoping for more, seeing what lays out. But in reality, no, her story arc happens in the later half of the game, which is not great for someone like me. I want to know it now, and like little breadcrumbs, you know, flowing, and then you get that big impact. And it's like, it wasn't really it. Now this goes in tandem with like Cloud and Tifa at the end of the day, for me at least, and well, I really liked, you know, Cloud and Tifa's interaction in like that like dreamscape reality. Like Cloud trying to realize who if he was real or not, Tifa kind of helping out and whatnot. I thought that was the best part of the game for me, because for one, I was already invested in Cloud and Tifa. I would like those two, so having those two interact with each other, absolutely peak. And then obviously another peak moment would be their interaction outside of like the airship, where Cloud said, yo, hey, all of you, go to whatever you want to do, you know, and like if you know what you're fighting for, come back here. If you don't come back, you know, I understand. And I like Cloud and Tifa's interactions. The problem though, that we don't really get a lot of it, in my honest opinion. We don't get a lot of it, and we don't get it happens very late in the game, and it's just like, it really does irk me. I just as much as Cloud, I want to put Tifa in Love's or Faye's, but I just can't. But yeah, this is obviously a pretty contentious tier list for some people. That was already 15 minutes. Now I'm just going to yap, and this is going to be like just completely coherent. I just want to get like some of my thoughts out, like entirely. That's not just like I probably will repeat myself a bit like during the credits on my VODs. I'll probably repeat about it, but I just still want to talk about like Final Fantasy VII and just my taste in games again, I guess, because, you know, I'm bored, I guess. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII is an impactful game, don't get me wrong. Like it's a game where I haven't had a game like this stick with me per se for so long. Cause like there's plenty of games like it like genuinely now, like there's games I played between at the end of Final Fantasy and now there's games I played between and they haven't really stuck with me. I haven't really thought about them as much as something like Final Fantasy, even though again, it's been like about a month or two, roughly speaking, since I have beaten this game. Also tells you how long I've procrastinated on doing this video, but you know how it is. So yeah, I'll just say that much. Final Fantasy has stuck with me. But the reason it stuck with me is because it's such a quote-unquote impactful game, with so many people are saying that this game's epic and whatnot. And that's like the problem for me at the end of the day. I don't do expectations well for me at least, you know, where it's just like, if I hear praise about a game, like, so much praise about this game, I'm obviously going to have higher expectations for this game. And I think that is, you know, reasonable speaking, you know what I mean? I think it is more reasonable to judge something like Final Fantasy VII with a more critical lens comparatively to a game like I don't know, like a game genuinely like Code VII, I guess. So if we want to do a game that I played, like something like Wave Tail or like Dusk Divers type of ordeal, you know, or like, you know, more niche games that I don't hear people praising all the fucking time. You know, because it's just like I don't feel like I would critique them the same type of ordeal. So in doing so, I had high expectations, and like and if I have quote unquote high expectations for a game, it goes in it leans in two ways. Doing so, it's either, oh wow, that game was okay, you know what I mean? I don't really see what people are going at. I don't really see why so many people are loving or praising this game when there's so, I wouldn't say per se so many flaws, but a lot of downtime or just a lot of things that I personally did not care for, like just at all. And then it can lean the other scale in where I have quote unquote high expectations for this game, but I absolutely love it because it is if I have high expectations of a game, it is easier for me to love the game, but then it is more harder. But then if they don't go at me quickly enough, then it is easier for me to fall out of quote unquote loving the game. I know that might seem weird to put it, but it's kind of hard to phrase it. I'm just yapping, so like, you know, that's because I just want to yap. So yeah, it's like with Final Fantasy, and so many people saying this is a great game, blah blah blah, this and that. It's just like I think modern time it is not. I don't think modernly in the 1990, you know, a 1997 game, I do not think Final Fantasy VII is actually that good, or it stood up to the test of time, in my opinion. Obviously, this is just my opinion. This is just how I feel. With all the modern games that I've played, I do not think Final Fantasy VII is a game that every gamer needs to fucking play, because it's quite frankly not that interesting, you know what I mean? It's just like, because like the main thing that I wanted to see more would have been, you know, Cloud and Tifa's interaction, and then like Sephiroth and Cloud. Like at the end of the day, I really don't get the beef of Cloud, you know what I mean? Like the beef Sephiroth has, sorry, that Cloud has Sephiroth. I get why he has beef towards Sephiroth, you know what I mean? You know, like Sephiroth burned his hometown, killed everyone in his hometown except Tifa, you know, type of thing. And even then, you know, he mortally wounded Tifa, but you know, Tifa lives, so it's fine, really, you know. I get why, but for two main things in why I combined, and why I couldn't really feel for Cloud. I didn't really get it for Cloud. For one, first impressions obviously didn't really help. Him just not caring, or him not really having a good mindset, that quote unquote hero mindset, I guess the best way to put it. That you know, he really is just a messed up kid with like trauma that he had to deal with, you know what I mean? Which is fine, obviously, but like, you know, I was expecting more of a cool Cloud, you know what I mean? But yeah, we don't really get that. So that's kind of like a sub reason, but the main two reasons would be PS1 graphics. I don't think are that good in trying to convey many emotions or feelings, and then there not being any VAs. Games without VAs are hard, at least for me, especially if they more lean on like the per se like depressing or trauma side of like dialogue or storytelling, because I don't really feel that. I can VA more of the cheerful or joyful side, or like jokester side of like non-voice VAs. I guess Chain Echo would kind of be like a fine example, but not really, of that more cheerful side, I guess. There's still a depressing tone of that in that game, but you can, yeah, it's really hard to explain, I guess. But yeah, so it's like I couldn't really convey that. So in doing so, it's just like I can't really know or like understand how the characters are supposed to act or feel, or like in that moment, you know what I mean? And it's like, for that, it's like is why VAs are just so good, because like, it helps convey what the character they're supposed to say or supposed to mean. You know, pretty good example would be just like butchering all of Barret's lines, pretty much just all of Barret's lines, because like I really can't get into the character of like Barret, and I could barely get into the character of someone like Aeris or like Tifa, and I don't really know like how Cloud was supposed to be messed up, you know, teenager at the point in where at the start of the story, because I didn't know that, because I thought Cloud would have been more cool and epic, you know, type of he gets there kind of, but not really. So yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like I just wish I guess for me, I just like I wish Final Fantasy wasn't just as praised as it is, even in like 2025. It's like I get it that it was an absolute milestone, in 1997. I get that, but I think there are so many more better games or things that you can experience better than what Final Fantasy did, basically, you know what I mean? Because again, it's the year 2025. There are several games where like they'll maybe not be better, but they're more enjoyable experience for the modern gamer. Now, quite frankly, it is obviously just a preference / nostalgic thing. You know, there's plenty of people that still have that like nostalgic for like the older graphics or like the older games. And generally, good on you. If you're one of those gamers, good on you. But I am not one of those gamers. The older graphics, I can only like the old graphics, or not even like, I can only bear the old graphics for so long when I have games, you know, like YS Nordics, Code VM, Wind Waker even, in which like these graphics they can still convey emotions and, you know, and like combat so well, you know, you know, type of thing, where it's just like, for Final Fantasy VII, some of the moments are just comedic, you know, in my opinion. You know, just Cloud running up and just stabbing Sephiroth, or, you know, like Sephiroth stabbing Cloud and Cloud just like lifting up and chucking him off the thing. You know, it's more comedic and less like epic or cool, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like Tifa running like Cloud in like the wheelchair. They're like falling on. They're seeing their polygon ass model just like fall. Like I can't take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely can't take Final Fantasy VII seriously whatsoever. And I think it is trying to take more of a serious thought. I just can't, because the graphics are just that bad. And again, I think if we had more of the quote-unquote higher quality cutscenes, I think the game obviously would have been better for me. Like again, I really liked the motorcycle scene. I think that scene was really good. The ending scene I didn't really care for, because it was more like up into your interpretation, kind of just guess whatever the fuck happened, you know what I mean? Like obviously, Holy did save the Earth and the planet from meteor, but we literally don't know what happened to any of the main cast aside from Red, and that's just that Red is still somehow alive after all this time has passed, and Midgard is now just ancient ruin. We don't actually know what happened to like the main cast, which is like, oh, fantastic. What the fuck? So yeah, that's not great ending wise. Like I don't think the ending is obviously that impactful either, and it's just like it has only stuck with me because it's Final Fantasy VII. You know what I mean? Because it's only so popular, and then it's like it's not really too different per se, because there's plenty of like popular games that I've played that quote unquote have stuck with me, but that's only because they're popular and like a lot of people talk about them. But I personally don't really think they're that good. You know what I mean? Like I never say a game is bad per se, because I can't really articulate why I think it's bad, because like the best way to put it for me is just like, oh, I just feel like it didn't do much, you know, which is like, you know, that's just a feeling and not just like an objective thing. So I'm definitely more subjective when it comes to like video games. So that's why I personally never say a game is bad. I always just say I really don't like it, or it's like I didn't really find it that engaging or that fun, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like with Aeris dying, not great, you know, knowing that Aeris dies, not great, and like even then, and I guess it's obviously also obvious that I just want to throw my hat in there just to burn people. I think if you watch the video, then some people do. If you watch the videos or like the VODs, then it's like I obviously prefer Tifa and Cloud. I'm definitely I don't know what their ship name is, and honestly, I don't really want to find out. But I obviously ship like Cloud and Tifa because I think it makes a bit more sense, and obviously they have more interactions with each other. You know, like it's hard to root for a ship if one of the people are dead. You know what I mean? Like, to all the people that like Cloud and Aeris, you know, or like ship those two, that's perfectly chill. One of them's dead already though, so good luck trying to make that canon. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I think it makes more sense, you know, like Cloud and Tifa being childhood friends, and you know, like Cloud, you know, being like, you know, I did this for you. Yeah, it's just nice and chill. You know, again, I really like that. That was a really high point for me. But again, it happened really really late in the game, and like all the other things, I just didn't care for. Like I said, I didn't really care for Barret's story. I didn't really care for Cait's story, Cait Sith's story, or Sid's story, or Red's story. I didn't get to like Vincent or Yuffie's story at all. It's just like I think there's just so much stuff. I don't want to per se say fluff, but there's just so much stuff. There's just so much stuff in the game that kind of colludes it, in my opinion. Like, you know, with the whole, I guess, you know, yeah, with like the whole, like the cross-dressing scene, like the cross-dressing place. Like, I think that's fun. I think that's kind of fun. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But I forget his name, but you know what I mean. But like Don something. It's like, is this necessary? You know what I mean? Like, is this really necessary? I don't know. And you know, with like the gold saucer and like the casino, it's another thing of like, is this really necessary? Is this really pulling the plot forward? Like, what are we actually doing here? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like there's so many moments like those, or, you know, like submarine scene, the submarine event, or you know, like us infiltrating the ship and whatnot. It's just like a part of me in my back of the head, like, maybe not like doing it, but like, you know, after all of that, I'm kind of just genuinely thinking like, is it really necessary? You know what I mean? Because it's like, again, games live or die by their memorable moments for me, and it's like there's not enough memorable moments to outweigh all of the, in my opinion, filler or boring stuff, or just things I personally am not like really interested in at the end of the day. We're just like, can we just move on from this? You know what I mean? It's just like, I want to love this game, don't get me wrong. I never come into a game hating a game. You know what I mean? I wanted to love Final Fantasy VII, genuinely, as so many other people have loved Final Fantasy VII. Like, even today, the age, you know, there's so many people that say it, but like, I am one of those gamers that is like, I do not think Final Fantasy VII is anywhere near being a masterpiece at all. It was definitely a revolutionary game. I am not going to deny that fact, especially for 1997. It was probably a revolutionary game. But unfortunately, I don't know why we're critiquing a game, you know, they're like saying that it's a good game, or like it was a cornerstone in 1997. Yeah, 100%. We are in 2025, though. I don't care how quote-unquote impactful the game was, or how impactful it's quote-unquote has been, which is like there were other more modern games out there that can convey a story like this just better because they have just better technology. For someone like me, again, if this had VAs, I probably wouldn't have so many critiques with it because they would be able to convey the emotions. And again, once I do play the remake, it will probably be an S-tier game. Don't get me wrong. I will probably absolutely love the Final Fantasy remake. I'll probably absolutely love that. For a modern game like me, for a modern gamer like me, I'd probably absolutely love that. But for the original Final Fantasy VII, I do not think it is a game that everyone needs to play. I think if you want the experience, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But you don't need to know what 1997 kids will feel, you know, at the end of the day. But yeah, I think for the most part, there's obviously some things I've like kind of forgotten about. Oh yeah, there's something I always forget about. The OST, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, but I never judge a game on like the OST. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. If I like the game, I probably will like more of the OST. If I find the game mid, I probably won't find the OST that good. You know, it's kind of just that self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I mean? Where it's just like the OST obviously does matter, but it is not like it is not a deeming quality or like a high value thing for me comparatively to some other things or to like some other gamers' criteria. You know, it's like some people think that the OST is like half the part of the game, which it really is, but like they value it like at half the game. You know, as long as the OST is an absolute banger, they think the game's good. When it's just like, for me, I don't think that. I would say, yeah, the OST, it's definitely good. There's definitely some good OSTs in there, but it's just like, just because the One Winged Angel is so good doesn't make up for all the other shit, you know, for me at least, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make it so like, oh yeah, you know, Sephiroth with his own fucking, you know, orchestra opera or whatever, you know, saying Sephiroth, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't, like, you know, for me, like, oh wow, Sephiroth is so emboldening, it's so intimidating, yada yada, this and that. It makes up for all this other stuff. It doesn't. You know, for me, it genuinely doesn't. The OST is good. It's in my playlist. It's in my gaming OST playlist. But it doesn't make up for all that other stuff. And for me, at least, for some people, it might. And some people can look deeper into the thing. But that's the thing with me. I don't per se look at like the deeper things. I always just look at like surface level, you know, because that's just how I am. I don't care to think deeper into this. So like, oh, this interaction or that interaction, like, unless I can see it and like infer, or they straight up just tell me, I'm not really going to like infer or think too deeply about like things like this or that, because quite frankly, if the game is fine with like not really showing it or not really paying too much attention to it, then obviously the game of like, it is fine, they could be missed. And now if you can say, oh well, the developers trust their gamer to be able to infer that, then I say, okay, well then I'm just not one of those gamers then, because there are plenty of games / stories and where like a action can take place and some people are like, oh, this is what they mean and this and that, and I take it as like, what the fuck? I didn't get any of that. And that's just how it is. You could explain the whole story to me genuinely, and I would still be like, yeah, okay. I still think the game's fine. Like, again, I can see why people enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I can see why people enjoy this game. But just like, for me, as a modern gamer, I do not think it is worth it. I think it is just a bit too old. It is just a bit too old for me to really enjoy / appreciate. And again, like I said, in the remake, I'll probably absolutely love it. You know, once I play Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy Rebirth, I believe is the next one. I believe I will absolutely love it and adore it, be an easy S tier game. But again, this is the problem of me, quote unquote, having high expectations or setting high expectations. Like, oh, well, now maybe I'll know that Final Fantasy Remake will be an absolute, you know, master, absolute S tier game, and then maybe I'll play it, and then maybe I won't find it as good. Who knows? But again, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, like I said, video games are kind of like make or break for the memorable moments and like the memorable characters and character interactions. And I think Final Fantasy, there was just, as you can see, like over half the cast, or main cast even, I really just did not care about whatsoever they're doing. So it's like, and it's also like, if not even the MC for me, you know, if not even the MC for me can reach at least love tier, then it's per se not a game that I'll like remember fondly, is the best way to put it. Because if there's one thing I like to take away from games, it is obviously the MC, the person, the character that you play as, you know, like that's the thing that I want to like that I can remember the most, because that's the one that you are controlling the most, and that's the one I have the most openness to, you know what I mean? Like the first character that I see, or the character that I know is the playable character, or the MC, that's the one I have the most openness to, you know, getting to know and enjoy and love and see their story pan out. And if they don't reach love tier, then that means that I can't, it's really hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I really love this game, because I didn't really love Cloud's story. I think Cloud's story is definitely interesting, but it doesn't focus on Cloud's story first and foremost, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't really focus on Cloud at all. It focuses on like other characters, and focuses on like Aeris, Cloud interacting with like other characters, which is fine, but they're not actually really interacting with characters. Like, I don't think Sith and Cloud, like Cait and Cloud interact like too much, or I don't think like Red and Cloud interact too much. They kind of all have they're like more like condensed story, and they're not more like intertwined with like Cloud story. If they were more per se intertwined with Cloud story, I think it maybe would have been better, or like it wasn't so contained, because like Barret's side story really only pertains to Barret, you know what I mean? Or like Cid's story really only pertains to like Cid, and like Red's story only contains to like Cid, and Cloud isn't really doing anything to per se help or like interact with them, you know what I mean? Like, it's just just Red, coming to terms that his father actually didn't actually like betray or like abandon the village, and like Cid wanting to like go into space, but he stopped going to space because he didn't want to kill a innocent bystander, or Barret dealing with the grip that like his best friend Dan or whatever went on an absolute socio-psychopath, and now all he really wants to do is like protect Maryland. Like, it doesn't really connect back to Cloud, in my opinion. So it's just like where I was interested in Cloud's story, but that's because Cloud was connected to Sephiroth, and Tifa was connected to Cloud. Like, those two are already connected before the game happens, and that's why I liked them more. And again, Aeris dying, I can't really like a character that really dies. So yeah, but it's like, because it didn't really focus, it didn't really feel like a Cloud adventure or story. It felt like there were other things that were happening. I just like, in doing so, it's like I can't really root for Cloud. Like, I can't really root for Cloud or be glad that he finally defeated Sephiroth. You know what I mean? It's like I can't really feel that. Like, I really, like I said, I really wanted to love this game, but it's just like there's too many factors in which it's like I think it's not that great. You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of other games that I've played with the MC, and I loved their story. I loved their story, the interactions, and that happened type of idea. And I think, unfortunately for me, Final Fantasy / Cloud is not one of those games. I enjoyed it for what it is, for how old it is, and for me to enjoy some parts of it, it is not bad. Also, this game definitely would have been worse without the two features that I did use here and there, which would have been the ×3 speed and the no random battle encounters. Those two features are actually really nice for modern gamers. If I couldn't play that at ×3 speed, oh, I definitely would have had more gripes about this game being slow. but I didn't, so it's fine. But yeah, I just want to yap about Final Fantasy VII. So yeah, here's just my yap, to say the least. If any of you watched this far, thanks. I yapped for so goddamn long though. But yeah, the TLDR, I think the game is just too old for me to really enjoy the characters / story. So yeah, that's it for this one though. Yeah, for now.